And here we go. We have entered the stream-o-verse. Hope you're all doing well out there. As the meme on the screen sort of points out, um, there's an underlying existential energy in the society where everyone's got their masks on. Austin, good to see you. Peanut Butter Beatrice, always a pleasure. Um, things have things are going sideways, and people are. It's getting to the point now where people can't not talk about it. That it's become the center of the culture, and that there's no such thing as "I'm fine." That the I'm fine and the have a nice days and all the small talk that we go through to get through our regular kind of scheduled programming, the veil has never been thinner. The the script has never been more rote. We've never been more aware of the falseness of our day-to-day interactions. And everybody, it's so easy now to get people talking about politics and what's happening in the world, and there's less of a the veil has never been thinner. Isaac, I'm sorry to hear that you've been sick. I'm sorry to hear that you've been sick, Isaac. I feel emotional. I feel an incredible amount of tension and an incredible amount of emotion about what's been going on in the world and what's been happening, and it's getting more and more difficult to hide it or to put on that strong face or to put on that mask. I think masking is a big one. We all do that to a certain degree. We all put on a mask and we all pretend like we're all okay, and that, oh well, everything's proceeding, this is what a normal, but everybody knows it's not normal. Like, everybody knows it's not normal, and we're seeing that lack of normalcy, or the normalization of absurdity, is beginning to kind of crack through. And there's a real, Compton, good to see you, my man. There's a real tonal shift going on. And I've noticed this tonal shift. And whether that exists within like the South Park episode with Donald Trump, I'm sure I have not had the opportunity to see it, but I've seen enough of it and I've heard enough people talking about it to know that it is as irreverent and as shocking as the South Park fellows are. And but the real tonal shift that I've been seeing is I can only describe it as an okay boomer quality. That there's an okay boomer quality happening now, where you either think that capitalism has gone off the rails or you're a boomer. Like, it's that quality that we're no longer interested in explaining it. We're no longer interested in discussing it. We're no longer interested in making an argument. That all that remains is simply pointing at it, and the people who attempt to justify it are Nazis. And that's the tonal shift that I'm seeing. I think that the Mehdi Hassan Jubilee, was a big moment. This moment with this fellow here, this Connor fellow, has, I think, made a lot of people realize and recognize that, oh shit, there's actually a lot of Nazis out there. There's actually a lot of Nazis out there. There's actually a lot of these guys. And people will say, oh yeah, but that guy, he got fired, right? So he got fired for his, what he called, my political beliefs, his fascism. And now he's raised over $32,000, right? So yeah, there's people who are willing to do harm to fascists and Nazis. That's great. Like, that's great. But there's enough people out there that are like, oh, we should support that guy. We should support this person. Like, this is a real thing that's happening. Peanut Butter Beatrice writes, that monster is going to give me nightmares. Yeah. And it was the sort of happy pleasantness by which he laid out his Nazism that was so disturbing. And the sort of black and whiteness of, oh yeah, these policies won't be used against me, right? Like, these are for other people. We're supposed to exclude other people. And this person had the audacity to call himself a Catholic. That's what's so shocking. And I feel like that really kind of touches down on the number one thing that I think we all have to start doing, and that I'm certainly going to be doing, and I feel like I have been doing, and I'm going to continue doing, which is that capitalists are no longer, if they ever were, but it's obvious that it's no longer rational. There is no rational argument remaining. That David Graeber is correct here when he says economists are not scientists. A scientist who proposes a theory that makes predictions that turn out 100% wrong then comes up with a different theory. Economists just come up with a different excuse to say the same thing. That when we find people in this era we are in, at this moment, at this time, when we find people who are still arguing in favor of capitalism, we no longer should give them the benefit of the doubt. We no longer should look at them and say, and try to reason with them. We should say to their faces, the very first thing that should be said to these people is, I don't really go for a flat earth religious ideology. I don't really believe in flat eartherism. I don't really believe in your kooky, backwards religious cult. And I'm not going to be convinced to buy into something that's obviously a religious cult. That your money is your god, you worship it. It's really obvious. And this is how these people should be talked to. No quarter given, no backing off, no defensiveness, no apologies, no making way for their perspective. They're lunatics. They're worshiping they're worshiping a false god in a death cult. And that is what's actually happening. That is what's actually going on. That the crisis that we're looking at is not a crisis of competing scientific or economic theories. It is literally a death cult in the most literal terms. It is literally a group of people who worship money, who worship a false god, destroying all of us so that they can gain its favor and gain access to the slave system that they have erected in order to control their cattle. And that's us. And that is the system that exists. And the people who are extolling its virtues are no different from people who are praising the god Vishnu or saying that Jesus Christ sent them to destroy the First Nations people, and that slavery is correct because black people are inferior. It says so in my magic book. They're literally no different. There is no difference. And to me, this is the big um, lesson or realization in regards to what is happening in capitalism, and I feel it coming to a dawning realization in the culture. When I look around, when I see other people talking about it, when I'm seeing memes, when I'm seeing stuff bubble up to the surface. What was the one that really kicked me off, that really got me thinking this way? Let me see if I can quickly find it. Because it was really simple. Right? Taxpayers, what is my purpose? You fund a lavish lifestyle for elite pedophiles. Oh my God. Like, it is actually this straightforward. There isn't, it's not more complicated than this. And people are beginning to put it together that your entire life, from the moment you were born to the present moment, has literally been exclusively for the purpose so that Donald Trump can go fuck little girls on Jeffrey Epstein's island. And for no other reason. There is no American dream. There is no great narrative of America. There is nothing like America. The concept of America is just like a fart in the wind. This worship of the founding fathers and this worship of the concept of America exists only to keep you in this sort of patriotic fervor, pledging fealty to something that never existed in the first place. It's to keep you quiet. It's to make sure that you don't actually stand up and go, these guys are pedophiles. It's to make sure you don't round up your friends and arm yourselves and go to people's houses, which is what you should do and what we should all be doing. The idea that it is taking this long for people to realize what the solutions are in our society tells you how deeply entrenched the religious ideology, not propaganda. It's not merely propaganda. We're not looking at merely propaganda. We're looking at a religious ideology that has infected everyone and has been embedded in the consciousness of everyone. And it's taking us all forever to put two and two together on this and to actually go like, oh, like, this is not that much different than like Aztecs throwing virgins into volcanoes. Like, what's the big difference? Is it different because it's not actively throwing people into volcanoes? It's just waiting for the sun to burn them to death in fields? Is that the big difference? Is this the big difference? And I'm trying to maintain my own positivity through it all. Right? I'm trying to believe that that there's something good. I'm trying to believe in the goodness of people. I'm trying to believe that it isn't only and exclusively this furious disaster that we're all watching. But really, it just looks like it's going to be just a bunch of funny memes. That, like, our big revenge is going to be, haha, the South Park guys really got him. Haha, the South Park guys really got him, you guys. Oh, Hulk Hogan finally died of old age. Haha, rest in piss, old man. Haha. And that's basically it. That here in Canada, we're just going to watch as Mark Carney essentially guts the public service, just like what's happening in the United States. We're going to watch the corporate power structure essentially detach itself from our political systems. We're going to see this detaching from our political systems and from our nations, followed by the abandonment. Peanut Butter Beatrice writes, I'm still gutted over Ozzy. Yeah, I was like that too until someone pointed out that he was a Zionist. Like, I thought that, like, yeah, the show was great. The show was wonderful. Uh, his final performance, and then his, death shortly thereafter. And it was all like, had this sort of like beautiful kind of moment, but turns out he's just a fucking Zionist. Isn't it just Sharon? Yeah, sure. Like, then where's the divorce papers? No, I have no room. I have no room. I have no sympathy. I have no compassion. I have no space. I'm not going to play the, oh, but he's the innocent Nazi. Oh, he was just the unwitting. Oh, he sure he had a Nazi wife, but he was great. Rest in piss, Ozzy. Say hi to the devil. I hope he treats you badly. Prince of fucking darkness. What a pathetic loser. Murdering little children. Singing about it. I'm going. Yeah, yeah. You went off the rails, man. You went off the fucking rails. Yeah, and that's the guy who sung War Pig. Yeah, because Ozzy was just a clueless, brainless idiot the whole time. Watch the show, right? The reality TV show, right? Ozzy didn't have any fucking morals or standards or beliefs or anything. He was a fucking child murdering Zionist. Just some fucking loser who everybody was just like wooed by, just like just like we've constantly been wooed by this ridiculous religious ideology. Like, it's not different. It's just a different piece. It's just another sliver of it to woo in a different type of person. But the Zionists use their religious ideology and use the religious ideology of capitalism to try to get sway of as many people as possible. And Ozzy Osbourne is no different. That he's just a useful idiot. And that's it. Good to see you, by the way, Annoying. Ozzy in hell or no? Yeah, but not in the fun way. Not in the way that his fans want him to be. Right? His fans want him to be like, yeah, I'm the Lord of Darkness. I'm ruling in hell. Yeah, right. Zionists burn in hell. And not the nice hell. Not the hell where you're playing cards. Like, I have absolutely zero space left for these Zionists. Like, just absolutely nothing left. I have no benefit of the doubt. Both sides. Oh, but think of, and what about, no, 0%. Like, how many missiles are we going to hit this place with? Like, every single time Iran peppers that place with missiles, I'm like, great, good, fantastic. Can we get more? How do we get more in there? Oh, I see China moving military vessels into the region to act as support while decrying and denouncing the genocide. Yeah, great, perfect, good. Oh man, I see a bunch of nations coming together to denounce Israel. Okay, cool, great. How many missiles are hitting them? How many bombs are hitting all their infrastructure? How much rubble exists in Israel right now? Not enough. So I'm out of it. Like, I'm done. I'm finished with the, like, oh, but if you who's the real Nazi? You. This ethical grifter guy is saying my mic's very echoey again. I think it's a you problem, my man. Like, is this your shtick, dude? You just come in and make a tech complaint, try to derail the whole thing? Is that your shtick? I think it's a you problem. Like, why are we giving these Zionists any room? Like, why are we giving them any room? Anybody? Can anybody tell me? And it's just infuriating. It's infuriating that we're told that we just have to live in the world, that this is the world that we're supposed to live in, that we're just supposed to accept it, that this is the new normal, that this is our normal existence, that this is where we're at. It's probably you're hearing, if you're hearing anything, it's probably my air conditioner, which I can't turn off. Like, I literally will die if I turn off the air conditioner. There's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. In some good news, the Yemen blockade forced Israel to shut down their Eilat port. Great. Great. That's the kind of news I want to hear. That's the kind of stuff I want to hear. Right? Like, and it just seems like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again, you know? Like, you guys know what I'm going to say at this point. You know, right? The power system is not responding. It's not responding. It's no longer interested in hearing us. It's no longer interested in listening to anything we have to say. It's erecting these pedophiles and putting powerful people into prominent positions who are literally just Nazis. Like, and doing, if they're not Nazis, they're doing all the things the Nazis want. And we're all just like powerless, apparently. That 99% of the populace can believe something and it just doesn't happen. Because the system itself has just discredited itself so thoroughly and so amazingly that there's just almost no reason to interact with it. That until people start to recognize that, like, it's got to become really personal for these guys. It's got to become like wealthy people are going to need to be stepping out of their houses and have it take them 2 hours to get from their house to their car. Right? Like, that's what's going to need to happen. It's going to take like millions of people in concerted effort at these people's houses. Forget about the White House. Forget about the Parliament buildings. It's at these people's houses where people are going to need to go. Because the people who have power in the society are no longer capable of caring, if they were ever capable of it in the first place. That it is over. It is finished. And in the midst of all of this, we're just meant to live a life. right? We're meant to be happy. We're meant to try to find any kind of complacency or contentment in the midst of it. While simultaneously, everyone is just alienated from one another. And it's like people are taking have a complete glee at the suffering that alienation is causing. Everyone is like gleefully engaged in the idea of other people's suffering and alienation. What's called the loneliness epidemic, right? That's something that's been weighing on me a lot over this last week. This loneliness epidemic. And it just looks like nobody cares. Like nobody cares. That the people who are in this kind of position or in this state where they feel that sense of loneliness and that sense of longing and that sense of wanting to belong, it's just hyper individualized and there's something wrong with you, is how it's pitched. And then we wonder why nobody actually gives a shit what we have to say about anything or what we think. It's because they know that we're not going to get together. Because we're literally making fun of one another for being lonely. Like, the fascism is deep in this society. It's deep, deep, deep in this society. And I don't think we're going to find our way out of it. Like, I wish that we did. I wish that we could. And I think that we can. There are paths to do so. But the paths are not going to be political. Like, we're looking at a complete shift needed within the consciousness of people. That people's awareness of their collective nature and their awareness of something called the collective good is what's going to need to change. And right now, it just seems like there is no concept of the collective good. There is no concept of collective well-being or the collective consciousness of humanity. Like, this seems so foreign. It seems something that people even mock it or believe that it's a woke idea, that it's wokeness. Hull, good to see you. And so all that's left is for us to just enjoy the decline. Right? Like, that's what's left, is just enjoy the decline. That everything's going to get worse. Rent is going to continue going up. Prices are going to continue going up. Your day-to-day life, your work is going to get harder. People are going to get less connected, more belligerent, more alienated. It's going to get worse. And so all that's left is just to try to enjoy it. Try to look at the madness that is before you and simply say, okay, this is what we're doing, I guess. We're taking the fool's choice. We're making the bad decision. We're doing the stupid thing. Okay, cool. How can I enjoy my life? But That because none of this changes the beauty of the beach, the stillness of the water, the quiet of the forests. Yeah, peanut butter Beatrice. Everyone I know thinks I'm overly pessimistic. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a common defense mechanism, right? I've been there. I've been there. I remember during the War on Terror, everyone thought I was overly pessimistic. Everyone thought that I was too negative. And like, this might shock you guys. I'm not like this in real life, right? Like, you guys come here and you get the like rawest, most negative version of me because this is where I put it. This is the space. Like, this is the space in which all of this negative energy gets put. And you guys come and participate in it. And one of the things that I've learned is uh, people can't handle this. Like, there are people in my life who care about me and who love me and who know I do this and who have tuned in, and they can't. Like, they can't tune in because it's too much. And I respect that. I do. Like, people are trying to live their lives, and people are trying to uh, have a good time, and people don't want to be weighed down by the burden of knowledge. That for them, doing this is not a catharsis. That for people like me, and I suspect for the listeners at home and for everybody out there, that coming here is something of a catharsis. That there is a releasing of energy that comes along with this. That doing this helps me sleep. Make sure I don't have nightmares. And if I didn't put it here, I'd be putting it somewhere else. And that wouldn't be fair to those people. Like, I genuinely believe I would be one of those people who like talk to people on the subway. You know what I mean? If I wasn't doing this. And I'm quite jealous of those people who can just sort of live in ignorance, who can just kind of live in this ignorance is bliss kind of position. I'm quite jealous of those people who can simply turn this off or not engage with it. I'm quite jealous of that. I'm envious of it for sure. Because I can't do it. And so here we are. Isaac writes, it's shocking and sad to see people who illegally in the US praising Trump for sending the Venezuelans to the concentration camp in El Salvador. Yeah, I mean, like, the very fact that this alligator Alcatraz exists, like, these are concentration camps, right? Like, the most free concentration camps in the world. Like, the freest country in the world to have concentration camps. Like, it's just getting obvious. And right now we're experiencing like a mental and spiritual constipation that we don't know what to do about it. And when, yeah, we just need to vote. That'll do it. Vote harder. You get to pick Nazi number one or Nazi number two. But the reality is, for millions of people, they have a um, they have a lifestyle that they have been sold by the system of capital, and they actually have it. Right? They actually do. They have the house. They have the kid. Right? And that's the life that they were sold and they bought in when they were young. That was the quote unquote American dream that they were sold. And so even though they might see that things are going off the rails, they still have something to lose. They still have something to lose. Hull writes, you know what's funny? Stupid immigrants buying into this anti-woke narrative because it's meant to target a certain demographic. Chicken happy to be served in KFC. Yeah, that's something actually that conservatives have been talking about for a long time. That um, the like a lot of people are coming from societies where like women are still considered like a subclass. Like that's a real thing that exists. And when they come over here, a lot of these fascists, so conservatives, uh, are like, oh, we should be winning over these immigrants. We should be winning over these immigrants on these issues of return on destroying feminism. Like, that's a serious talking point. Anemone, good to see you. That's right. I think ethical grifter is right. Everybody, we just need to vote for our favorite autocrat, right? Just vote for your favorite autocrat, right? Pick the pedophile who you like better, right? Just pick the pedophile that you feel uh, uh, encapsulates your interests the best, right? Which autocrat, which corporatist, which pedophile do you think is going to represent your interests? And then just vote for them. Yeah, consumerism is slavery. Good to see you, Long Defiant. What are you doing with me? I'm consuming. Yeah, like it's the absurdity of the moment that gets me. It's the absurdity of the moment that gets me. And it is starting to break apart. The mega crowd is starting to break apart because the Epstein story seems to be the thing that's doing it finally, right? That they all rallied behind Donald Trump because they were like, Donald Trump will expose this pedophile ring that he was a part of. And now everybody's putting pressure on him. Hey, could you release those files like you said you would? Hey, weren't you the one saying that we need to expose this Epstein narrative? Isn't this a thing that's actually going to happen? And now it's getting obvious that he won't and that he's not going to do that. And while there's a lot of people on the right wing that are obviously fascists and obviously Nazis, uh, they seem to all agree and they seem to all believe in the idea that, like, yeah, but we shouldn't be having sex with children, right? That, like, the same crowd who is like calls themselves pro-life uh, has finally started to understand that, like, oh yeah, like if we want to be taken seriously when we're called pro-life, maybe we shouldn't encourage having sex with kids. Long Defiance says, I'm strongly doubtful the mega base will move. It's called a base for a reason. Yeah, and I mean, like, it's just another theatrical moment, right? Let's say the mega base does move. Let's say there is a big shakeup. Let's say, oh my God, the ball moves. Okay, well, where's it going to move to? Like, where's it going to move to? We all know where it's going to move. It's just going to go over to the other side of the pedophile cult, right? It's like the Catholic Church appointing a new pope, and everybody's like, "Oh, a new pope," and I'm like, "New mascot for the pedophile cult." Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, Trump will probably be sacrificed to protect the rest of the pedos. Yeah, I mean, the the populace still hasn't put together, and you see some people talk about it. You hear this line that gets said. Uh, it's not left or right. It's up versus down. Like, it's not left versus right. It's up versus down. It's rich versus the poor. And some people do say that. Like, some people do say that. But I think most people don't believe it. Most people have chosen their side, and most people view politics that way. And as long as that exists, as long as that carries through, then the game will always continue going. It'll just be a ball passing forth between the Democrats and the Republicans, right? Whichever wing of the pedophile cult you want it to be part of. Or it'll be passed between liberals and conservatives up here in Canada. Baldy, good to see you. Joe, good to see you too. Man, I did not realize how upset I actually was until I started doing this. I didn't realize how pent up with negative energy I actually was until I started streaming today. Baldy says, what is your opinion of Mehdi Hassan, John? My opinion of Mehdi Hassan is the same opinion I have of a lot of people who claim to be like left-leaning or leftist commentators, which is that they've got some growing up to do. And we're seeing that happen. We're seeing that happen in real time. That these guys are starting to catch up uh, with us. That they're starting to acknowledge and recognize what the threat actually is. They're starting to understand and recognize what the problem actually is. They're beginning that process. Like Mehdi Hassan doing that Jubilee, I feel like was a moment that showed a lot of people, oh shit, there's Nazis here. That the communists aren't talking out their ass. It's not hyperbolic, right? The what would be called the fringe left or the far left, right? We're not just fear mongering. We're not standing here waving a red flag because we're out of our minds or anything, right? We're actually doing it because they're real, because they're standing right in front of you, telling you what their objectives are, telling you what they want to do, being open and honest with you about what their goals are. And their goals are extermination of subhumans and enslavement of other groups of subhumans. That's their goals. That Gaza is a blueprint that the return of segregation and the return of slave systems is the goal. And people like Mehdi Hassan, and people like Kyle Kalinske is another good one, Sam Cedar is another good one, right? That their role in all of this has been to protect those fascists and protect those Nazis unwittingly. That these people have stood in front of you. Vosh is slightly different because Vosh is like a real dyed-in-the-wool just fraud. Like he's not like a genuine, like I believe that Mehdi Hassan believes what he believes, right? I think that Vosh is just a fraud. The but like these guys need to grow up. They need to take their intelligence and they need to take their intentions, and they need to actually apply that intelligence and apply that those intentions to the real, actual seriousness of what the actual real problem actually really is. That in many ways, these guys have just been part of the religious cult, and that their role within the cult is to try to convince people that, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, we can reform it. We can reform the cult. Right? Oh, sure, there's like negative things and we can have conversations about that. But generally the system is stable, and so we should just reform it. And anybody who's saying anything other than that is just out of their mind. And that's their job. Right? That's their job. And they need to grow up. Really blatant, like flat out. Like the guy I'm really thinking of right now is Kyle Kalinske, right? Like really well-meaning, intelligent, well-spoken, but like a little kid, not taking it seriously, insulated from the seriousness of the situation. That in many ways, like here's the controversial take, here's the hot take that's going to come out of me this week. In many ways, as strange as it seems, the person who's actually like laying it out there, the person who's actually taking their dick out and being like, this is what's going on, like is fucking Tucker Carlson. Of all the fucking people. Anytime Tucker Carlson shows up and anytime I listen to this guy, I'm like, he's actually laying it out. He's actually talking about it. Like, that's craziness. That speaks to the absurdity of the day that we're in. That it's someone like fucking Tucker Carlson who's actually pointing at the real problems and actually talking about them. Yeah. No, Tucker's a bigot, like a very obvious one. And he has all of the failings that you expect from somebody who claims to be a Christian, right? Yeah, Tucker's a nationalist. Yeah, for sure. I think that's absolutely true. But like, I also think that he's taking things more seriously than people on the left are. Like Mehdi Hassan just went through this Jubilee, and then you listen to him talk about it, and he has this kind of like sense of odd detachment, right? This is insulated detachment, that he fundamentally understands that the consequences of this are not going to affect him, right? That he's reached a strata and he's within a class where the implosions will happen beneath him. Like these and I think you're correct, Anemone. The left isn't a unified front, but I mean, there's a reason for that. Left leaders get deported and assassinated. pretty straightforward, right? Like if you're a left leader, especially throughout like the 60s and 70s where it was just open, like if leadership on the right was being assassinated and deported, then the right would also struggle, I think. Yeah. Mehdi wants a two-state solution. Yeah, that's over. There's just no such thing. Anemone says people in the West need to understand the difference between liberal Islam and Marxism. Yeah, that's giving Westerners a lot of credit, Anemone. That's giving Westerners a lot of credit. Way more credit than they're due. Long Defiance says, I think he was a little surprised by it though. Pretty sure he was expecting normie brain damaged MAGA. Yeah. Like but that's speaking that's speaking to what I'm talking about, I think, which is that the imagined image of what MAGA is versus what it actually is a there's a denial there. There's a sense of denialism. People don't want to believe that these people exist and that they're being well supported. Like I've already pointed it out with this Connor fellow. Sure, he got fired from his job. Everyone heard that. Yeah, and then he went ahead and raised $32,000. Nobody's given me $32,000 to be a communist. Nobody's shelling out $32,000 to say, hey, we've got a communist here who's speaking out against the genocide, who's speaking out against the homelessness, who's speaking out against the poverty, who's speaking out against the accumulation of wealth, who's speaking out against this stuff. Oh yeah, we gotta support this. We should make this guy should have a full-time job. He should be doing this. Yeah. Nobody's doing that for me. You know who's getting $32,000? Nazis. A guy who's willing to stand up and proclaim in front of everyone, I'm a fascist, and have everyone around him clap for it. That guy's getting $32,000. I'm not getting fucking $32,000 for doing this. Right? We've seen communists go on shows like this. They're not getting $32,000. Nazis are, though. Yeah, there never was a two-state solution. That's true. No, Israel was never serious about that. The Zionists were never going to allow that to happen, and it was always just propaganda to try to buy time, to try to just con Westerners into believing it was this is a two sides issue. This is a both sides issue, and it's complicated and it's really difficult, and we need diplomacy and negotiation, and everybody just needs to come to the table, and those big bad Palestinians aren't coming to the table. Oh, they're the ones who are really causing the real problem. Yeah, right. Get fucked, Zionists. Not enough of your buildings are rubble. Anemone says, I meant leftists in the West. Yeah, Anemone, and same comment. I think you're giving way too much credit to Westerners. They just need to know when somebody is just a liberal Muslim or when they are actually Marxist. Yeah, I feel like it's the same comment. Like, yeah, most leftists are broke by design, for sure. Unknowing says, yeah, most people supporting that Connor guy remained anonymous because they don't want to lose their jobs too. Yeah. Or they don't want to reveal that they're like the CEO of a bank or something, right? Like, we all know how this is going to go, guys. Like, we all know how this is going to happen. Like Adolf Hitler rose to power because he was funded by capitalist industrialists. That's what happened, right? And it's going to be the same thing here in America. It's not going to be any different, right? Maybe it'll be like the tech bros, right? Like it'll be like a different group or a different form of capitalists, but it's going to be the same idea. Like the rich, powerful people in the society will fund the new Adolf Hitler, the guy who's literally like, hey, the Jews are the problem. Yep. Low observable goat over on Twitch. Yeah, billionaires throwing 0.01% of their, not even 0. Like 0.001% of their couch cushion change at the little class trader du jour. Yeah. Like, see if we can get this guy into a city council position somewhere, right? Oh, a guy who's willing to stand up and say that he's a fascist. Can he be the mayor somewhere? We get this guy elected mayor of a small town somewhere, and then maybe he can go from being the mayor to like being the governor of like Alabama or something. And then before you know it, he's like actually a congressperson, the congressperson from the state of Alabama. And then we can get him to vote to strip rights away from black people, which is the goal. Local guy on the internet, I'm not going to read your comment, but I appreciate your need to confess such things in this space. So. Anemone says, man, have you covered Bob Vylan? Huge fan now, great music. Oh, Bob Vylan. Yeah, the death to the IDF, right? We need more celebrities saying what all of us leftists have been saying. Yeah, proud of them. They sacrificed a lot to do that. It's pretty incredible how much they sacrificed to actually do that. Like they lost an entire tour, right? They lost a lot of money doing that. Yeah, Jubilee's been doing this for years. It's clear what their motives are. Yeah, Jubilee needs to stop. Yeah, people like this, and it is easy to believe that they're just a bunch of like clueless corporatists, right? That they're just like, we need people to see this, and how do we make money? And controversy makes money. Let's find the craziest people and put them in front of Mehdi Hassan, and we'll have him do this thing, and it'll be great, right? It's just easy to believe that like the people at Jubilee are not like genuine dyed-in-the-wool Nazis. They're just money hounds, right? They worship money, and they know where money is, and they know how money comes in. And like they can justify it to themselves with this like bad speech beats good speech narrative, right? Because what hasn't seeped in, there hasn't been like that's the Joe Roganism, right? Right, that's a Joe Roganism, right? Good speech beats bad speech, right? This sort of clueless, well-meaning, childish idea that says good speech beats bad speech, when the truth is that loud speech beats quiet speech, and if you can beat people into silence, you win. And the only reason why Nazis are talking is to recruit and terrorize. They're not interested in engaging seriously in ideas. Yeah, you don't platform them if you aren't also Nazi. I mean, it is getting to that point where that's starting to become more seriously understood. But it's becoming more seriously understood because people are beginning to understand that you can't negotiate with these people. There is no negotiation to be had, right? They are only speaking so that they can terrorize you and then recruit. And that's it. Those are the only reasons a Nazi is speaking up. Yeah, and they know people love this let's try to compromise ideal. Yeah, the enlightened centrist. The enlightened centrist position, as if there is a centrist idea. What is the best way to deal with them? With a baseball bat, or better. Baldy McNosehair. The Nelk Boys interviewed Benjamin on their podcast. Yeah, thankfully, a lot of his fans turned on him. Yeah, like I saw those guys go on a bit of an apology tour And it's the same, they're trying to use the same talking points, right? We don't shy away from interviewing controversial. Yeah, you guys should have brought him onto your podcast and arrested him. That's how you could have maintained your credibility. You could have brought him onto your podcast and then like put handcuffs on him and sent him to the fucking Hague where he deserves to go. It's this idea that let's hear Benjamin Netanyahu's perspective. Hey, Benji. So, can't help but notice that you've committed an irredeemable, unforgivable genocide on a group of people who are unarmed. What are your thoughts on that, Benji? Let's really hear it. Hold on, let's hear him out. Let's hear him out. Like, just like the demonic urge for clicks. Like, that's all that is. It's just the demonic urge for clicks. It's just knowing that like clicks equal money. Send money, good. Money, me, good. Clicks, money. Controversy, clicks, my money. That's it. It's just this demonic urge. It's just this demonic urge for clicks. Yeah. October 7th, though. October 7th. Yeah, October 7th. Yep. I'm glad October 7th happened. I'm super happy. I wish it had been more successful. I wish that the nations around Israel had have been more aware that that was happening and more respondent to it, and they had have capitalized on that moment with more specificity. If October 7th had been the end of Israel, I would have been cheering that. I would have been super happy about that. Actually, like let me be really clear because I'm like talking out of pocket with that. October 7th was the change of it was the turning of the tide. That before October 7th, everyone was still in this attitude of complex issue, both sides, that if you were leaning towards the Palestinian cause, it was like a simmering pot. It wasn't like the fire. It wasn't the thing. But then from October 7th onward, it just became obvious what was happening. And like day by day, just, and my own investigation into that conflict and that issue allowed me to encounter Abby Martin's Gaza Fights for Freedom, which is a great film. You can find it for free online. Abby Martin's Gaza Fights for Freedom. Abby Martin has been giving some real impassioned pleas, really powerful stuff regarding this situation. And I can't really look at it anymore, you know? Like, it's too much, you know? I can't really look at it. And it's everywhere now. It's impossible to avoid. Like, it's everywhere. Like, I'm scrolling on my feed on TikTok, and it's TikTok has become just absolutely insane. It's absolutely wild what these algorithms are turning reality into. That we flip between vice and disaster. That, hey, look at this cool sports thing. Hey, here's an advertisement. Hey, dancing e-girl, Gaza genocide. And just through this whole array of human catastrophe. And I just can't look at it. Like, I just can't look at it. It's like a flame that's burning too brightly. And I know that nothing's happening about it. Like, that's what makes us so pathetic. That's what makes the West so pathetic. And that's what's made Westerners so pathetic and irredeemable, like completely irredeemable, is that we're not doing fucking anything about it. That my own government basically pays lip service to it, will release a letter saying like, oh well, something must be done about this war, while the prime minister outright says he wants to erect a Zionist state there. Like, it's just gross and disgusting, and we're a gross, disgusting people. Like, it makes me not want to talk to anybody. It makes me not want to know any of these Westerners. I don't want to know these people. I don't want to have connection with these people. I don't want to talk to these people. Look how disgraceful they are. Look how disgusting they are. Look how uninhibited they are with their bloodlust. Like, I guess that's part of the whole like loneliness epidemic. Like, I feel a sense of loneliness in this society, but I know that like 50% of my society are just ghouls. Just these absolute abominations. I don't want to know these people. Uh, we have a fellow who was just making some interesting comments over on Twitch. Local guy on the internet. Oh wait, you're a grown man who considers himself a communist? Yeah, that's enough internet today. I would challenge you, local guy on the internet. I just don't think you know what communism is. That's pretty common. Like, people who genuinely don't know anything about the subject seem to have very strong opinions of it, and so I would challenge you on that. Yeah, anemone. Yeah, if you platform Nazis, you're a Nazi. Yeah, I'm there. Like, the only platform a Nazi should get is the one they're buried under. Generation Y Me says, I loved when they claimed that they would get a pro-Palestinian voice on the show next week. Like, no, you're not going to get a voice equal to a prime minister. Yeah, exactly. This isn't some both sides shit. Yeah. Hey, I'd be impressed if they did it. Like, that's the grift, right? Like Joe Rogan is the most guilty of this. He's like, oh no, we got to all sides. Everybody needs to have their voice heard. But I've never seen him platform a trans person, right? He's never spoken to a single trans person on his show. So he's just full of shit. Anemone writes, the BDS movement is huge at York U, so I knew about Palestine long before many others. Yeah, Hull, TikTok is absolutely depressing, yeah. Generation Y Me, yeah, it's too hard. Yeah, I can't with the news most days. Yeah. I mean, this is what I do. Like, this is what I do, and I'm finding it, and like, it waffles between like the very serious, which is the Palestinian genocide, and like the cartoonishly absurd, which is essentially the Trump administration. Annoying writes, ashamed to admit that for years. I just had the nihilistic thought the whole Israel Palestine thing was just a petty feud that went way out of proportion. Never could I have fathomed it was literal colonialism. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, the crystallization was just hearing the words come out of Ben Gavir's mouth himself. Like, the first prime minister um, of Israel said it. He just said it, that we're stealing this land from Arabs. It was just nakedly, right? Like you got to do a lot of mental gymnastics to bend over that one. Generation Y Me with a $5 donation. You're doing God's work, my man. I appreciate it, Generation Y Me. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. You know what I promised myself I was going to do? I wrote a song, or a song came to me. So I'm gonna perform this one. This will be the first time I'm really performing it, so forgive me if it sounds like shit. But I feel like this one needs more to it. But living life in a whirlwind, try your best in a land of sin. Keep your head down to wash their marble floors. Standing straight in a hurricane. If you smile real big, they won't see your pain. Wanna bite to eat, you better keep up the show. It falls to rack and ruin, 'cause God is coming soon. Send your kids to Epstein's Isle, say they're better than you with a great big smile. They'll bleed you dry till you're just skin and bone. Took out their heart, replaced it with tin, sent the angels away, let the demons in. Put a price tag on their everlasting soul. It falls to rack and ruin, 'cause God is coming soon. A robot ain't no Holy Ghost, I won't replace heaven's host. A lie so big you cannot see the chain. Yeah, you can't outrun the human race. You won't find solace out in space. Your guilt will follow you down to your grave. And it falls to rack and ruin, 'cause God is coming soon. Yeah, God is coming soon. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that one hits me, man. Like, the wheel's gonna turn, you know? Like, the wheel's gonna turn. I'm glad you guys like that one. I'm glad you guys like that one. That one was another one that was just kind of a gift, you know? That I don't know how much I feel like I make myself real vulnerable when I start talking about music and start talking about where it comes from, but it just like, it's the songs that I sit down and I have intention. I intend to write a song about this thing. And this one wasn't like that. It was just like, here's the words, write these down. I think there was only one line that I changed. Yeah, a robot ain't no Holy Ghost. I think that's the only line of the song that I can take any credit for. And the rest of it was just given. And the more I sing it, the more I feel like that's a real, like, that one's a real, like, gun toting, cowboy hat, cowboy boots, stomping the pavement, shooting the gun in the air kind of song. Prevmar over on Twitch says sounds good. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I do. I gotta do more with my music, man. Like I gotta do better. I don't know how, you know. Like I do gotta record some of this stuff, and I gotta start getting more serious about it. Because I know that I've got some gifts. I know that there are some songs that are just like actually a treasure, like a true gift. And I feel like I'm just kind of sitting on them, you know. Twinkle, twinkle, little star transition. Ongnoings, touching back to your Christian roots in that one. I mean, I use a lot of Christian language because I think that there are a lot of Christians around, and I have a Christian upbringing for sure. And I'm no longer leaning away from sort of the country roots that are inside of me, that I can't get away from, and I'll never be able to get away from them. And like if I were to interpret that song into kind of a secular sort of a way, it is that, you know, the pendulum swings. The pendulum swings, and right now we're at this apex, right? The pendulum is reaching an apex, and it's not quite there yet. Like it's going to hit an apex, and it's going to swing back the other way. And when it swings back the other way, it's going to swing really, really hard. Because these fascists and these Nazis are burning too many bridges, and they're doing too many things. They're hurting too many people. And I think that the people who are trying to manipulate the people, I think the people who are trying to manipulate people are going to lose control of it. Because that's a force that, like, woe be to those who try. Yeah. Songs are like that. They come to you almost fully formed in minutes. Yeah, they can. They can. Yeah, that scary Christian imagery always works well with music. I think maybe because I'm a Westerner, though. I mean, yeah, that's part of it. It's our tradition. It's what we were raised in. Um, I've kind of come to terms with Christians in my life. Like there are real Jesus is coming back Christians in my life, and I've kind of come to terms with the reality that, like, for those people, Christianity and Christ is how they express their emotional selves. That's the method by which they connect to their emotional selves, and they talk about the mystery of creation, the mystery of our existences. They don't use Freudian psychology, which is what most of us are doing. Right? Most of us are engaged in like Jungian or Freudian psychology of some sort. and we're using like the language of like secular psychiatry or Stoic philosophy in order to grapple with these issues. And that's what most of us are doing. The Christians don't do that. The Christians use Christ and use the Bible. And I think that we went through a period of time, and we're still going through that period of time, where like the Enlightenment brought with it this idea that if it's not measurable, it has no value. And instead of Christians, and I think there's a like I think Muslims do this. I think that every religion and faith has a section of people who have done this. Instead of saying, yeah, I mean, these books have magic in them. They're obviously a way for us to peer into our emotional selves, to reflect upon our emotional selves, and to come to terms with our existence and with the angst and the anxiety and the fear in order to attempt to get through those anxieties and fears to find the other side and attain enlightenment or attain our godhood, attain our understanding that we are all brothers and sisters of God. As Christ was the Son of God, I too am the Son of God. And that these books exist for that purpose. And instead of framing it that way and understanding it that way, they fell down this rabbit hole of literalization, where it needs to be literally true. It needs to be measurable. Jesus needs to be a historical figure. These events need to have happened, which of course leads you down into a stupid place, which is now you need to defend the magic. Now you need to find like, oh, this guy was a wizard who was actually casting spells, and like they fail to understand that like the fact that the book has magic in it is the clue. Like that's the clue that we're not living in reality. And instead of just simply accepting that and saying, yeah, like we discuss these things in mystical terms because our emotions are actually quite mystical. That you are in many ways a mystical being. That you live in oneness and in connection to all things around you. In a way that is undefinable and difficult to comprehend, and that it's actually a process and it's actually an ongoing journey for which you only get to experience a fraction of it. And instead of approaching these texts with that, they've clung on to, no, Jesus is a real wizard. But I feel like that comes from a place of deep fear, that they're afraid of losing their emotional language and their emotional support in the world. And when they listen to this Freudian psychology and all this, they don't really go for it. It doesn't resonate with them. Whereas Christ does. Christ does resonate with them. And I wish that we could all just kind of come to terms with that. And we could all just look at one another and be like, yeah, like this is about our emotions. This is about being emotional and being vulnerable in those emotions. Especially if you're like if you're a rural man living in like Texas or Manitoba or Alberta, right? Like you're not gonna talk with your kids about like your feelings, right? That's not how that goes. You're gonna talk about a story. You know, this reminds me of this time. This reminds me of this story. You know, this reminds me of a Bible story. And you're going to talk about a Bible story. And I've had lots of encounters, especially in my adult life now, where I'll just be standing around shooting the shit with some rural fellas, right? And one of them will do that. We'll be like, this reminds me of a Bible story, or this reminds me of this story, this reminds me of this time. And they'll tell this story, and I've just realized that this is this person talking about their heart or talking about their own fear, but while keeping it kind of at a distance, right? There's always that kind of sense of plausible deniability where they can just be like, it's just a story, right? That it's a way to let love in even amongst the fascists. The people who will be like, "What are you, woke? This is some gay shit." Well, it's just a story, right? I'm just telling you a story. You're just being ungrateful. I'm telling you a story, and you're not listening. You bum. And I just wish that we could all kind of come to terms with that, and just come to terms with the idea that, like, the most difficult thing for a person to do is to deal with themselves. And people do all kinds of stuff to avoid it. People do all kinds of stuff to dismiss it, to distract themselves. And actually, like, looking at it, actually sitting down and looking at yourself and saying, who am I? Why am I here? Why do I feel this way? Where do these feelings come from? What am I meant to do about it? What am I meant to do with it? I think that's the most difficult thing for a person to do. That's why I find this whole narrative surrounding poverty reduction and homelessness reduction as, oh, people will just sit around and be lazy. I find it to be so insulting and so disgraceful. Because can a person sitting around doing nothing is engaging in one of the most difficult activities a human can do, which is dealing with yourself. And I also find it to be completely disgraceful because you're trying to genuinely convince me that I should be more concerned about a person sitting on a couch than a person starving in the street. That's the fear mongering. Oh, if you do that, people will just be comfortable. Can't have that. We need people to be suffering on the streets, making sure they don't have enough to eat. That's appropriate. That's normal. That should be what's expected. You should expect to see homeless people living in tents. That's normal. But if you give them money, then they'll comfortably sit on couches. Like, the hatred is baked into it. I'm supposed to hate these people. I'm supposed to think that these people are disgraceful. Googly eye enjoyer. Just got here. What's happening? Just shooting the shit, my man. Yeah, my city is literally driving me crazy with how it deals with people who are homeless, for sure. All right, I'm going to play a new song. I'm going to play another one. Not a new one. I was singing this one earlier. I was just a little boy when my mom and dad divorced. Through my tantrums, cried my tears, I'd keep their vows by force. Now that I'm an older man, I see it had to be this way. And my love for them keeps on growing each and every day. Time passed me by so swiftly, I could have been a better man. Every day I'm trying to do the best things that I can. And though they're not the people I expected they would be, I love them all the same, and I just want them to be free. 10 years, me and my wife, we traveled round the globe. Sacred vows and shared regrets, they filled our lives with hope. Then one day she tells me that a man is not for her. Well, those 10 years are a memory now, but my love for her still stirs. Time passed me by so swiftly, I could have been a better man. And every day I'm trying to do the best things that I can. And though she's not the person I expected she would be, well, I love her all the same, and I just want her to be free. My love had a little girl, a scrappy tomboy type. I watched her blossom like a flower, but she felt not quite right. Then one day she tells me she's a young man, not a girl. Well, I picked her up, held her close, then sent my son into the world. And time passed me by so swiftly, I could have been a better man. And every day I'm trying to do the best things that I can. And though he's not the person I expected he would be, well, I love him all the same, and I just want him to be free. Yeah. Though they're not the people I expected they would be, well, I love them all the same, and I just want them to be free. Oh, that one has always carried like a healing energy for me, you know. I need to be playing that one more often than I do. Just another gift. Ah, thank you, JT. And that's something I worry about for myself, you know. I worry that there's too much there's too much hatred in my heart, you know. I worry that I have too much hatred in my heart and that I carry that into this space, and I make the excuse to myself that, oh, this is the cathartic space. This is the space where I'm allowed to speak my mind and say these things and give myself the freedom to be negative, give myself the freedom to get it off my chest. But playing that song really reminds me, you know, that what we really need right now, what I really need right now, is love, is just some basic goddamn compassion. And it's hard. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to have love. I feel like I have these moments where I get it, where I get it. I have it. I have that sense of love, and I can feel it. It's like a it's like a candle that lights up. It's like a candle that lights up and says, "Here I am. Here I am." And then I feel it start to fade. And it never goes away, thankfully. What a dark day that would be. But the darkness of this world does close down on it. And sometimes it's easier to be dismissive, and it's easier to be insulting, and it's easier, or it feels easier. But it never is, you know. It isn't actually easier. I just wish that I could be in that space of love. But I could talk to people. And right now, like I see that the people who come in and insult me, make fun of me, they're the ones who are behind. Like I can't onboard it because they're the ones that are suffering. That when I'm in anger or frustration, or I'm feeling insulted or belittled or dismissed, in many ways it's a self inflicted wound, you know? That it's my expectation meeting reality. And I guess the secret is to just not have any expectations. And to kind of count your blessings, you know? And I do have blessings. I have blessings in my life. This channel is a blessing. You guys being here and listening to me is a blessing. My friends are a blessing, my family. I feel like I'm more blessed than many others. I don't worry about where my meals are going to come from. I don't worry about losing my job. That when I do have these fears, they're in the distance. Being afraid of the future of my society or my nation or my civilization. Well, those fears are not manifest today. Somebody mentioned this song earlier. Prevmar, if you're still here, bud, this one goes out to you. These times they are uncertain, of that there is no doubt, and nobody can tell me quite what it's all about. The heartbreak and the loneliness, the chaos and the fear will make even the strongest cry. I wish my mom was here. A young man on a battlefield fights for a rich man's gold. The bullet cracks into his spine. He knows he won't grow. And as the tears come streaming down, at once his mind is clear. The war was fought for nothing, he cries. I wish my mom was here. A lively story, well in hand, a joke to soothe your soul. When it came to arguing, she'd forgive and let it go. When I cried, she held me, told me it's okay, my dear. And as we face these darkened days, I wish my mom was here. And as we march into the streets, as all the righteous do, we'll raise our voices to the skies. They cannot stop the truth. And as we tear their structures down, we'll raise a victory cheer. We made the world a better place, and I wish my mom was here. Yeah, we made the world a better place. I wish my mom was here. Man. That one's growing up with me, you know? Sometimes I play my older songs. Sometimes I play my older songs and I can see that they're childish. And I can see that they're not they're not growing up with me. But that song's growing up with me. And I can feel that. Because I know one day I'll sing that song. and my ma will be gone. And I know it's coming. And it'll be here sooner than I like. And that's just the nature of the ride, you know? That I'm going to watch her go, and then it'll be my turn. And that while I'm here, I'm going to do everything I can to make it a better place. And I don't have much power. I don't have much reach. But I'm going to do what I can with what I've got. And the good Lord willing, my blessings will reach farther and extend farther. And my voice will reach farther. The good Lord willing. JT writes, I have to learn that one if I can stand not to cry during it. That's the trick, JT. That is the trick. Chording couldn't be easier. Don't play along with me because I tune my guitar down a step. So if you try to play with me, it won't make any sense. But I tune it down a step because I find that song to be just a hair's breadth too high. And I find most songs to be just a hair's breadth too high. So I tune my guitar down a step. But it's just C, G, C, sorry. Right, just C, F, G. Just like that. And then the lyrics you can learn, right? So it's a dead easy song to learn. JT writes, the way you make I Wish My Ma out, especially the ma, really just underlines it in a way that works in such a deep desire to belt out. Yeah. It's funny how I came to that, right? Like the lengthening. I know what you mean, right at the song. Like, I wish my ma was here. Yeah. It's funny I came to that. Because initially I was just saying, like, I wish my ma was here. But then it created a lot of dead space in the song. So I thought, let me just lengthen this out. And then with it, so it was a very technical decision. I didn't make that decision based on anything other than just like, let's just fill the space here. And then that created a lot of emotional power. Right? So it's funny. It's funny how songwriting works. It's funny how it happens. It's funny that we do it. That's something that I think about all the time. Like, why do we do this stuff? Like, why aren't we just like little robots? Like, why aren't we just like little ants going around just like do thing, tra-la-la, pick up rock, move rock over here, pick up rock, move rock over here. Like, why do we have this like innate desire? And we're not alone. There are other animals that do it. But we seem to have this like really innate desire to create art and to express ourselves through music and dance and poetry, painting. That's what makes this AI shit so offensive to me. Like, the entire point of art is to take something from your soul that you can't articulate and articulate it into the world. To make that which is inarticulatable articulate. That's the whole idea. And AI art just renders it all slop. It's all just like just shit out the slop, right? And it's not too much different than just a machine that dangles keys in front of you, right? Ooh, pretty seems to be the goal, right? Like, and I shouldn't like be an old codger and be like, oh, the kids these days with their rock and roll and the newfangled tech and all that kind of stuff. Like, I do believe that an artist could use AI in order to facilitate the crafting of something. You know what I mean? That a human has this idea of what they would like to see or something that they would like to articulate and have it come out of their mind space. And they use an AI in order to um, kind of fill in some gaps, right? And in that way, it's not too much different than like a pen or a tool, right? Like it's like a magic wand that you get to be like, okay, put sparkles here, right? So I'm not opposed to that. But what I am opposed to is this idea that AI is going to take over the space and that we're just going to be fed the slop, you know? That all of our movies and all of our television and all of our media and everything is just going to become like this AI slop. And like we're going to be listening to stories that'll just be completely generated by AI. And that the AI is, and it's going to put us in a cultural feedback loop worse than the one we're already in. Because I don't know if anybody's noticed it. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but we're caught in a feedback loop, a cultural feedback loop. And you can see it. Like they keep doing all these remakes. It's all the same Marvel movie over and over again. It's all the same Star Wars movie over and over again. It's the culture rehashing itself and repeating the same story again and again and again. And not allowing anything new into the space, not allowing anything, uh, um, not allowing new ideas into the space. And they seem to crack through anyway from time to time. Like, I think that Superman movie is of note. Seems like there's finally an anti Israel narrative cracking through. Yeah, so many remakes, reboots, retreads like Freakier Friday. What's the point? Yeah, it's because it's capitalism, right? It has to make money. You can't just do something. You can't just do something. It's got to make money. And so the only thing that gets made anymore is something that's like surefire. And I wouldn't mind it. Like, I really wouldn't mind it if they just did some re releases. You know what I mean? Like, if they did re releases, I'd feel a lot better about all of it. You know? Like, if instead of remaking the Little Mermaid, they just re released it. And they just did like a 25th anniversary of the Little Mermaid. And then just re released it into theaters again. And for some reason, that's like better for some reason. That doesn't feel like such a like somehow we're not so caught in this perpetual like retreading. Generation YME says, I rewatched Plague Dogs recently. Hits different post COVID. Yeah, and I think that speaks to something, you know, like it's like I feel like they keep remaking these things and then changing things about them to make them more suitable for modern audiences, quote unquote. Um, and yeah, yeah, Lilo and Stitch, Gamer Jams over there. Yeah, yeah. And like, yeah, exactly. How Star Wars makes all those sequels. Think of what we could do with that money. Yeah, think just the money from Star Wars. Like that's how you know the whole thing is bullshit, right? Anytime they're like, oh, how are we going to pay for that? Where are we going to get the money for that? Hemming and hawing about like, oh, what about the money? Where are we going to get the money? Oh, about it. I don't know how are we going to. It's just like it's like, and then it ends up being like the budget of a single Star Wars movie, and you're just like, what are you talking about? Like, of course we can afford that. Like, of course we can. Like, what are you talking about? They just don't want to do it, right? Yeah. Here's another new-ish one. I think I've played this on the stream once before. I'll play it for you guys. I was just feeling this one. Another day with your head upon the pillowcase. You cry your tears for the loss of the whole human race. You tried so hard to get the life they promised you. You played Monopoly and now the rent is due. And it all came crashing down. And it all came crashing down. Yeah. The siren ringing just became part of the show. And flashing lights, they blind the way you're meant to grow. And dollar bills don't matter even when stacked high. The men who run this place had Jesus crucified, and it all came crashing down. And it all comes crashing down. Yeah. And in the darkest hour, I'll be there with you. I'll take your hand in mine no matter what they do. We keep each other strong through heartbreak and through pain. This place will burn to ash and we will rise again. And it all came crashing down. Yeah, it all comes crashing down. And it all came crashing down. Yeah, it all comes crashing down. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. It's got a kind of a like Creed sort of thing going on with it, I feel. I definitely feel like I definitely feel the Creed spirit working through me with that one. With arms wide open. Thank you, Generation. I appreciate it. Ugh. Wow. Dude, I feel that this particular stream has been really, for me, has been really emotional. I feel like there's been a lot of like ups and downs in this one. That it's like, holy cow. And I feel like this week has just been an extremely emotional week for me. Like, nothing specific has happened. There's nothing outside the norm for me, right? I'm not sitting here shaken to my core about some event that's occurring. It's just the ceaseless bubbling, you know? It's the ceaseless bubbling. And that I've had streams like this before where nothing really has happened, right? There isn't like the big event or the big story. A week where the big story is like Mehdi Hassan doing a jubilee, or Donald Trump being like Epstein files. That's not really a big fucking deal. Like that's not really like who gives a shit about that? It's barely noteworthy, and it'll be forgotten. Like we're gonna forget about it in 2 weeks. Yeah, content creators, right? Like we just be up here creating the contents so that we can, I don't know, do something while we're on the toilet. But like nothing happened. It's all the same. It's just the same existence that we're in, but it's churning harder. It's bubbling harder. Like I remember even a year ago, God, doesn't it feel like not that long ago we were all going through COVID together? Man, that's crazy to think about, that I've been doing this for so long, that we were all in the middle of COVID and we were all like going through COVID, and then there was all the post-COVID shit. And it was just like there. And even during that period of time, there was like this like, it was bubbling, but it wasn't like this. And I feel like it's this meme. This meme is the thing that really kind of kicked me in the teeth today. Because it's so simple and it's so clean and but it so hits it. It hits it right where it needs to be hit. That the passive energy, that the underbelly of our society, that the shadow of our society, the part of ourselves that we don't want to discuss, the part of ourselves that we don't want to see, the part of ourselves that we don't want to interact with on the day-to-day. Maybe we're happy to interact with it in a sort of meta kind of sense, and every so often we're willing to see the art or see something that brings it to the fore. But now that has become the day-to-day. That we've ignored it so thoroughly, and we've paid so little attention to it, and we've not dealt with it to such a level that it's finally seeped up from underneath the rug. And now we can't help but walk in it. We can't help but smell it. We can't help but see it. And we interact with one another with the old language and the old script. But now we see the skeletons poking their heads out of the closet. We see the bodies that we've hidden beneath the floorboards rising back up. We hear them groaning. We can't not see them. And yet we all pretend as though we can't. And every day, day by day, more and more people are cracking. Literally every single social media app that anybody uses is full of these ads. How many ads do you guys get that are like, BetterHelp therapy? You know, I was feeling really down and out and down in the blues, but what I went and got myself a therapist. It's all of us, right? Like everybody is being told, you better go do some therapy. Yeah, well, the only thing that we should be telling these therapists is, man, my life would be so much better if we overthrew the oligarchy. If I had enough money to pay my rent and everything was completely fine. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the crypto, the investing, right? Just might as well be witchcraft. Just might as well be ads for like, put your life savings into the mystical hands of the money weaver. The money weaver. The money weaver will make your life better. Are you confused about what to do with your money? Oh, here at Money Magic Incorporated, we'll take your money and make more money with that money. Because money is the point of money. And there's no other reason to have money other than money. Dude, if I could have a magic wand and be given, like, if I had a single wish that I had to use for like Earth, I had to change the fabric of society somehow, right? Like I couldn't just use it on myself because I would make myself a powerful sorcerer. That's what I would do. I would be like, can I cast all the spells in the Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook? Just unlimitedly? Can I do that? That's what I would for sure do. Just literally spellcaster all the way, dude. Anyway, if I had to like change our society in one way, I would get rid of the money, dude. I would take the money and I would put it in the background, right? And return it back to the status that it belongs, which is as a measurement tool. You know, something for a specific group of people to basically look at and be like, okay, measurements look good, right? But I would take it out of the hands of day-to-day interactions. Like, you would never interact with money, ever, in your life. You would walk into places, you would get your food, you would go to your house, and if somebody was like, well, how much does that cost? You'd just be like, I don't understand the question. Well, it's like, well, how much money does it cost to take these kinds of things? And you'd just be like, well, there's a building over there, they keep track of all of that. Well, you mean you don't need, but how do you know if you earned it? How do you know if you earned it? And you just be like, I don't understand the question. Like, I'm a citizen of this society, and we all think that everybody deserves food and shelter and safety and education and healthcare and all these things. We just assume that that's something everybody should have, and it's all taken care of in that building over there. If you want to know, it's over there. You can go take a look at it. It's fine. But like, earned it. What are you talking about? XD writes, my favorite are the donate to Gaza ones. Yeah, let's just ignore that Israel literally fucking controls what goes in and out, lacing the flour with opium. Yeah. Yeah. I struggle with those ones because I like relate, but at the same time, like, everything's a scam. You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to believe that these are scams. And I want to believe that they're not. And I want to believe that, like, aid can get into Gaza. Like, what really needs to happen is just an international coalition, right? Like, Canada, the EU, the United States, obviously, it would be lovely if they joined in, but they're not because they're just like a pedophile cult at this point. But, like, a huge amount of countries basically just need to roll in there with aid trucks. And if Israel kicks up a fuss, we just need to look at them and be like, shut up. And that's really how that should go. You know, that if Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, Kazakhstan, the Congo, and a bunch of other African nations, if they all got together and just rammed aid trucks through, I'd just be like, great, cool, awesome. These guys are the coolest. Like, that's what really should happen. But it should be the EU, and it should be Canada, and it should be the West. This is a Western problem. And why aren't they doing it? Probably because they're pedophilic Nazis. Like, Dave writes, I heard there's even a business multi-level marketing about crypto investment. That's crazy. Yeah, dude, it's all just a scam. Like, it's all just a scam. Like, just like Ponzi scheme upon Ponzi scheme about like crypto's like a fairy fart. Like, it's worse than fiat currency. Like, I get that people have made money with crypto, right? Because there's a sucker born every minute. But just like, it's all it is. And like, I know for a fact that they're going to digitize the currency at some point, right? They're going to try to digitize the currency, and they're going to try to pitch us on the idea that, oh, this will increase efficiencies. Yeah, it'll make slavery more efficient for sure, and that'll last for a little while before it collapses for one reason or another, right? Like, the idea, like the fundamental idea of cryptocurrencies and digital currencies is stupid on the face of it. Like, just innately and naturally stupid. You want to burn non-renewable resources to uphold funny money. Like, if that's your pitch, you're a moron. And if you buy that pitch, you're a moron. And there's no shortage of morons. Literally 15 minutes ago, I was talking about love. And I was talking about compassion. And now here I am. We're just so easy to trick. You know? Like, we're just so easy to trick. And I just like wish we weren't. You know, I just wish we had some principles. Like, it just shocks me. I'm always shocked every time I realize it. You know, I'll just be standing there in my normal life, just like at a bus stop. I'll just be standing there waiting for the bus, just not really staring at anything, not really thinking about anything, right? And then all of a sudden, the thought will pop in my head. People are actually debating whether or not everybody should have food and shelter. That's actually a debate we're having. And it just like makes me go, oh, fuck. Just like this dawning realization that like, oh, right, yeah, we are totally fucking fucked. Like, we are absolutely fucked over as a people. Like, there's actually people in the world, like, let alone my society, but in the world at all, that are actually on the side of not everybody should have food and shelter. When asked the question, hey, should everyone have access to food and shelter, there is a healthy amount of people who say no. What? Like, what are you even talking about? That the idea that the debate isn't how do we get food and shelter to everyone? That's not the debate we're having, right? The debate we're having is whether or not everybody should even have food and shelter. And the people who are most likely to say no call themselves pro-life. Now, Knowing says, I'm not even sure who they're even advertising anymore. Saw an ad for a home selling platform that just casually showed homes being sold for 750K to $1 million. Like, seriously, who are they advertising? Yeah, I think one of the things that I think is happening in the society, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, is that they're no longer trying to sell us anything, right? They already have all the money, they already have all the wealth. That now they are just like, the way that they're getting wealth now is by destroying anything that that taxes pay for. Like that's how rapacious and psychotic they are. Is that now, in order to increase their wealth profile, they need to destroy the civil society directly, like um, not circuitously, not through any kind of strange channel, not through any kind of secretive thing. They're literally standing up and saying, we want to destroy the civil society and take that money for ourselves. And that's like literally what they're saying. And so they're out of ways to make money, right? Like they can't make any more money because they already have it all. They've already collected all of it for themselves. They're hoovering it up, right? And now they're just abandoning as many people as they can. And so the advertisements no longer exist as a way to sell a product to you, right? They're not trying to sell you something that they expect you to buy, right? What they're doing now is normalizing the reality they've created. And that's what advertising has become. The old capitalist idea of using advertising as a way to get customers is over. Like, I'm sure you'll see some bauble or doodad or some small scale thing you can buy for $20. Sure, right? Fine. But for the most part, advertisements exist to normalize the reality they have created. That they want you to watch these homes selling, these ads selling you a house for $1 million, so that your conclusion will be, I guess that's what a house costs, right? It's like how I'll hear a narrative float through every so often here in Canada where it's like, oh, the housing market's going down, the housing market's deflating. And this is pitched at me as like a real story that I should take seriously. And it is technically true that the housing market did go down, right? It went down 2% after going up 50%, right? So everything they're pitching at us now through advertising, through the media, through the news, everything exists now to normalize the reality they've created. This is just what houses cost. If you're complaining about it, oopsie, nothing we can do, ski. Oopsie badoopsie, nothing to be done. That's just the rules. That's just how it is. Right? Like, all advertising is just normalization now. And now that I've said that, you'll notice it. You'll see it. You'll watch an ad and you'll think, who is that ad even for? And it's to normalize the behavior that's being shown in the ad. It's like a car commercial, right? Like, what's a car commercial for? Like, they're not actually trying to sell you a car. What they're doing is they're trying to normalize the concept of cars. They're normalizing the very concept that like cars are an innate, natural part of your environment. That life is supposed to have cars in it. You're not allowed to imagine a world without cars. Everything has to have cars. Right? And like, most advertising now is like this. Like, McDonald's isn't trying to drive you towards McDonald's. right? McDonald's puts their stores in places so that they're so goddamn convenient to get to and so obvious right there that that's how they make their money, right? Like the brand loyalty thing, like this isn't the 1990s anymore. That a McDonald's commercial exists to convince you that McDonald's is indispensable. That McDonald's is like a cultural touchstone. That they don't care if you watch a McDonald's commercial and think to yourself, I'm never going to McDonald's. McDonald's is bad for you and it's gross food anyway. They don't care about that at all. Like, sure, they would prefer if you were like, yeah, I love McDonald's, but they don't care. What they care about is that you know McDonald's and you see McDonald's as a cultural touchstone that is indispensable to the culture. That McDonald's is America and America is McDonald's. That's the point. That's the purpose. That you are not permitted to imagine a reality that is different than the one that the wealthy provide. And if you dare imagine a reality that is different from the one that the wealthy provide, then you are their enemy and they will do something about it. Like, advertising exists to convince you that what is going on is normal and to normalize your enslavement and your destruction. And if they can get you completely blank-headed about it and just being like, oh, eat the burger, I like my snackies, and if that can satisfy you, right? If you are fine with existing in the world and having a completely unexamined life and just doing what you're told, going to the job you hate to work for the people you don't know, doing a task that you're not even certain is any good for anybody, if they can convince you that that's good and that's normal, then they have you exactly where they want you. They have you precisely where they want you. And so that's the role of advertising. Like, and I keep seeing there's a type of leftist, right? And it's that reformist style leftist, right? That keeps showing studies. Oh, did you see a new UBI study came out? Oh, hey, there's a new study that came out that showed that a 4-day weekday is actually better for everybody and everybody's happier and there's no diminishment of productivity, and in some cases it increases productivity because everybody's so much happier with a 4-day work week. It's just the science. We've got all the studies. Take a look. And while I'm like, yeah, studies are good and the information is good, it's these people are not, like, they're like a little kid. They haven't actually grown up into a position where they realize, like, yeah, you're not going to get your 4-day week, right? You're not going to get your 3-day weekend. You're not going to get your 4-day week because they want you exhausted and they want you tired and they want you frustrated and they want you in a position where you can't organize. That's what they want. That's the goal. And they're not interested in your productivity anymore. They don't need your productivity. They need your compliance. They don't need your productivity. They need your obedience. That's what they need. And so you can wave around your studies all you want. You can push anything you want. You can try to have any agenda you want, right? Your oligarchs are not going to do it. They're just not. And I really wish that these guys would wise up and grow up and really start to put 2 and 2 together. That, like, oh, you have enemies, dude. Like, you have vampiric, demonic ghouls who are trying to siphon away your life force for money. They're not going to give you a day off, no matter what evidence you show them. They know that it increases productivity. They don't care. They're not interested in your productivity. There's all kinds of things that they could have done to increase productivity. If it was about increasing productivity, there's a million things that they could do. Why don't they do them? Because all of them involve giving you time to talk to your neighbors. What, you think they want? You think they want you to do that? No. They want you to reach the end of the work week and to be so exhausted that you spend the next day drinking your face off, the next day recovering from that, and then the next day just plowing back into this fucking work week. That's what they want. They want you to be tired, exhausted, and disorganized. They don't give a fuck about your productivity. Like, we are on the cusp of them abandoning us. We are on the cusp of them basically just lifting off of the society and saying, well, bye. Like the Walmart's closing, the Target's closing, the Amazon's closing. Like, we are on the cusp of that reality. And all of the wealthy taking all of the money for themselves, right? And running away with the bag. Retreating into their gated communities, retreating into their bunkers, retreating into their mountain caverns, retreating into their brothels and their pedophile islands, and basically just saying, well, go fuck yourselves. Like, they don't need us. We're not part of their strategy anymore. That the only reason they even think of us anymore is from a management perspective. That they are looking at us going, okay, these people exist. They are here. What are we going to do with them and about them after we abandon them? And the answer is, well, let's look at Gaza. That's working. For the most part. So, like, change your perspective of the purpose of advertising. Because advertising exists to convince you that what you're experiencing is normal. That, like, it's like anytime I see an ad trying to sell me on AI, I'm like, yeah, if this did what you claimed it did, you wouldn't be selling it to me. Why would any capitalist anywhere try to be selling me their? Why would any capitalist anywhere be trying to make their competitors? Why would they be trying to make competition? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, if it did the thing they said it does. Yeah, they're clamping down on ad blockers now, of course. No, of course. No, dude. Like, soon the ads will be mandatory. Like, I just don't think I don't even fully understand the depths and the depravity that it's going to be. Like, it's going to be utter depravity. Like, there's going to be millions and millions and millions of absolutely depraved pedophiles protecting people like Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos and all these guys. Like, that shit's gonna happen, dude. Yeah, ads in your dreams, like in Futurama. Yeah. No, there is nothing sacred, right? That they have destroyed anything that is sacred. And they have made the mundane sacred. They've made money sacred. Somebody over on Tavrish says, this channel about real communism or about Trockum? I don't know what Trockum is, my man. I'm a communist. I consider myself a communist. I'm not the communist of all communists. I'm not the gatekeeper of communism. But if you have questions regarding communism, fire away. I mainly use this channel as like a a way to clear my own mental space. And I do try to raise people's consciousness about what capitalism is and what the antidote to capitalism is. And I'm to a point now where I'm happy to say that people defending the system of capitalism rather, are essentially religious, like they're religious acolytes at this point. That capitalism is no longer about reason or logic; it's just about following an ideology, a religious ideology, and that's how I communicate about it. Because if we actually talked about capitalism from a scientific perspective, we'd be communists. And like everything I've just said, by the way, it's like they're pretty explicit about it, right? Tech billionaires accused of quietly working to implement corporate dictatorship instead of democracy will have basically tech feudalism, fiefdoms run by tech corporations. They're pretty explicit about this point. Like it's right in front of us. JT writes, that game, Victoria 2, programmed communism into the game, and it ended up being easy mode, too easy to win, because, you know. Yeah, because you don't have, like, a group of worthless parasites siphoning away resources into black holes, right? Like, the Victoria franchise seems to be the only one that's actually trying to emulate economic models, right? Like, everything else is just like kind of hinting at it, or kind of like, but they're not actually trying to be like, okay, what does this economic model actually look like? What is the economy of this actually? And they've got a ways to go because and I mean I respect it. It's tough to get humanity involved in it, right? That like humanity is difficult to pin down and is difficult to sort of comprehend or understand. That like we get caught on ideas that are bad all the time, and that doesn't really work for like a video game, right? It doesn't work for a video game that you would have control of a nation or control of a people who are dead convinced that a stupid idea is good. And like the clearest stupid idea that exists in our society is the concept of you've got to earn it. It's such a bad idea. It's such a stupid thought. It it just increases everybody's suffering, uh, and makes everything so more difficult for everyone. Like you don't deserve food and shelter unless you earn it. What are you even talking about? You're just setting yourself up to be exploited. You're just setting yourself up to have some shitty landlord or some shitty corporatist basically withhold gatekeeping and withholding resources from you and saying, but we all agree you have to earn it. And like when you set up social systems, everything is means tested. And so all social systems are 3 times the cost they should be because you have to means test everything. Uh, uh, and then it's still gatekeeping and withholding resources from people because the system obviously gets designed to withhold food and shelter as often as possible. And it all just is wrapped up in this idea of you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it. Well, if you don't earn it, then you don't deserve it. Meanwhile, like 5 people own most of the land. Just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like playing a game of Monopoly, except for food. and then having the person who wins the game be like, yeah, you don't deserve food, you gotta earn it. You lost the game. I won the game. I get food, you don't. You gotta earn it. It's just so clearly a stupid idea that like has been deeply entrenched in our society. And so it's difficult to put that into a video game. Like and have that be a satisfying experience, right? Because like when a person plays a video game, they want their society and their civilization to be successful. They don't want the 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 city or civilization or nation that they're in charge of to destroy itself for stupid reasons. But that's what we're doing. Like we're destroying ourselves for stupid reasons. And like the destruction of America is going to be thorough. Like we're not going to have a big bounce back, I don't think. And like America deserves it, by the way. Like let me just be super clear. The West generally, but America more than everybody else, absolutely fucking deserves it. Like the ensuing civil war, the rise of ICE, like literally just like this shadow cabal of losers who like grab people off the streets and deport them, and that people are actually defending this and like being like the removal of due process. Like how much longer until people just start to understand that if any law enforcement shows up at your house, you have to open fire? How much longer until that starts to happen? Because that's literally the road we're walking down. Like we're walking down a road now where if you see law enforcement coming, right, the safest option for you and your neighborhood may very well be to open fire. Because you know that they're not going to respect due process. They don't care if you're an American citizen. And that you can be disappeared to a concentration camp. They've shown you the concentration camps. Whether it's in Florida or whether it's in Ecuador, you've seen them. And you've seen senators and congressmen at the concentration camps. How much longer is it going to be that the most rational, most logical, safest, and best option for every single American citizen is going to be to open fire on people? And when that starts to get normalized, because it's going to get normalized, like you start to see like a dozen ICE agents walk into your neighborhood, the best option for you is to open fire. When that starts to happen, you're going to start to get zones that are completely abandoned, where like ICE agents and police forces won't go into because they understand that if they go in there, there's a strong enough force that will open fire on them on sight. And what, you think resources are going to get put into those areas, into those neighborhoods? You think the same people that are funding ICE are going to also fund those neighborhoods that open fire on ICE agents? Like, America's gotten itself in a pretty big pickle. It's gotten itself in a pretty bad situation. And mark my words, what's going to happen after these Trump years is that the ball will get passed over to the Democrats again. And the Democrats will like, let's defund ICE by 5%. And of course, the corporate power structure and the legal structure and the deep state and all this kind of shit will just lose its mind over that and just throw the biggest hissy fit possible and and say it's a travesty and it's undemocratic and it's the Democrats are weak and they want illegal immigrants to run over the country and they'll just scream and holler and hoop about it from like a 5% defunding. But meanwhile, ICE will just continue acting the exact way it does, and it won't stop. And the Democrats will just oversee it and pretend as though they're the better option. And meanwhile, the splitting up of America will just continue on. More concentration camps will get built. The place will get more dangerous. And then, eventually, guess what happens? The ball gets handed back to the Nazis. Except this next time around, it'll be like a real, honest to God, dyed-in-the-wool Nazi. With the salutes and everything. Javik over on Twitch says, hello from Russia. Good to see you. Your Twitch channel logo is stylish. The hammer and sickle look great on the Canadian Leaf. I'm glad to hear that, Javik. I appreciate that. JT continued. Dwarf Fortress did some neat anarcho-communist stuff. Not that deep, but different from other games. More about desired community than power, yeah. Battlefield 6 has a trailer, came out today. It uses Bob Dylan anti-war song. And the theme is terrorists within the US, I guess. Yeah. Nah, these Battlefield games and like Call of Duty and all this kind of stuff, it's just you're just making little Nazis. That's what these things are for. It's to make little Nazis. Yeah, Isaac points out Obama created the ICE children cages that Trump used when he came to power. Exactly. Dave writes, John, we've seen this during the COVID-19 pandemic, the police showing up at our door because you 5 people in your apartment, because the government has passed a law no more than 4 by families. Yeah. They did try, like, for sure they tried to do a bunch of things that were overreaching. That's fair to say, for sure. My position on the COVID-19 thing was always that it was a frantic time full of a lot of fear and that a lot of stupid things were put forward very quickly. And one of the things, for example, one of the things they tried to implement here in Toronto was if you walked into an establishment, if you walked into like a pizza place right down the street, you walk into a pizza place, you were supposed to scan a QR code that they had put. Like the government came and put a piece of paper on the front door with a QR code on it. And when you walked into the establishment, you were supposed to scan the QR code and then upload, like, you're basically self-tracking, right? And their excuse is, this will help us track spread of the virus and all this kind of stuff. Well, and they passed this. This is legislation. This was an idea that they were moving forward with. And it just completely fell apart because nobody did it. And they realized, like, oh, yeah, we have absolutely no method by which to police this. Like, we can't enforce this. The business owners don't want it because it's cumbersome to them, and they're not going to enforce it. And we don't have the manpower to enforce it. What are we going to do? Put a cop at every door? And so it died. It just died right away. And that was a little moment that really sparked inside of me the idea that, like, oh yeah, like, one of the major ways that we stop a lot of this dumb shit is we just stop participating in it. That if the people stop participating, it will change. Like if it's just understood that joining ICE is like a social kiss of death, and that no one will fuck you, no one will be your friend, everyone will think that you're a piece of shit, and that's just like understood, people will stop joining, right? But the people who are joining ICE are like they're doing it for the most banal reasons ever. I remember I read an article last week, and it's just literally a bunch of guys who are like, yeah, I'm a little bored. You know, I need a job, and people want me. We should travel a little bit. You know, yeah, I get to travel around a bit. Yeah, that's got on my hip. I feel like a big shot. They're just losers. They have no sense of morality, no sense of community. They got none of that shit. They don't even think about that shit, right? It's like soldiers that went to Iraq, right? Like you're. It's only when you get back from murdering children in the streets that you're allowed to be like, "Is that a bad thing that I did?" Like nobody has, and games like Call of Duty and these Battlefront and all this help with that. They help people sort of video gameize these things and make them go like, and at no point does anybody actually pause and think to themselves, uh, "Hey, is this a bad thing? Or is this a bad thing that we're doing? Is maybe going overseas and actually doing these things, is that bad?" Like they never even think about it. There's just no sense of even questioning it. That the furthest anybody gets to thinking about it is just, well, I need a job. And they're saying they're going to pay for my education. So, and like, we've distilled out. Oh, Javik has written quite a long thing over here on Twitch. Let me take a quick look. He writes, my great grandfather, for his time, sorry, just getting a little. My great grandfather fought in his time in Staraya, Russia, a settlement on the southern shore of Lake Ilmen near Vilky Novgorod. He was wounded, for which he was declared unfit for further service, and he led a peaceful life. For me, he is a hero, like many other soldiers. A Soviet soldier is a superman because he does not hate other peoples. In Russia alone, there are about 190 peoples, and under the USSR, there were many more. There is no malice towards enemies. The same Germans after 1945 did not receive evil retribution, but instead, as former prisoners, they rebuilt all those countries, including Poland, the Ukrainian and Belarusian SSR, and after that, actively coexisted with us in the Warsaw Pact. And I don't speak English, I use Google Translate for communication. That's a lovely sentiment. I think that the Soviets should have been more suspicious that the like allowing Germany to reform, allowing a former Nazi state to reestablish its borders seems to have been a grave error. But I respect the position the Russians are in, not really in a position to dictate terms. Like losing entire cities, losing 20 million people in this just conflagration. That's what's incredible to me, man. Like, and it seems like that just gets completely forgotten when we start talking about Russia. Like, Russia lost 20 million people in World War II. More. That's that's a scar. Like that's going to be an intergenerational scar. That's just going to exist on the consciousness of those people for generations to come. You just don't forget about that. And there's a really great movie about World War II, made by a fellow, I forget his name offhand, but it was Come and See. And it was about his experience with World War II as a young boy. And I highly recommend Come and See as a Russian film about, because it's so, first of all, it's so rare. Like, usually when we see films about World War II, it's the American kind of hyper glorified version of the heroes coming to save the day. And even when it's kind of more gritty or entrenched in reality, like Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers is a good example. It still has this very glorified version of it, that for all the suffering and all the pain and all the difficulty and all the ridiculousness, we're the great heroes, right? Forgetting that the people who actually won World War II were the Russians, right? The Americans came in after. I always have made the statement that if the Russians had have lost the Eastern Front, the Americans would have never joined the war. That the Nazis winning the Eastern Front was preferable for them. And when the Soviets won on the Eastern Front, the Americans joined the war so that Stalin wouldn't go all the way to the coast and wouldn't take France and wouldn't take Spain and wouldn't take Portugal. Because that's what the Soviets would have done and should have done. Yeah, Come and See is a great film because it's fundamentally it's a film that's about fighting a demonic force while not becoming demons yourself. That's the fundamental thrust of the film. And that's a theme that keeps popping up, and it especially becomes present right at the end of the film, where you go through this process of this young boy witnesses the Nazis round up a village full of women and children and force them into a church. And they taunt and they mock the women by saying, the women can go free if they leave the children behind. And then, of course, they burn the church down with everybody inside of it. And the young boy manages to escape, but still bears witness to the horror of it. And at the end of the film, the Soviets capture these Nazis that did this, and they have them. And many of the Soviet soldiers are of a mind to torture these men. And then it's a woman amongst them who grabs a rifle and opens fire on the Nazis and just kills them and says, we won't become like them. And then the young boy is given a rifle and told to join. And before he comes along with them, he sees lying on the ground a picture of Adolf Hitler. And he's struck with a vision, an intense thought of Adolf Hitler de-aging. And the boy is pointing his rifle at this picture of Adolf Hitler, and he imagines Hitler as a baby. And it's that kind of classic question. Would you kill Hitler if he was a baby? And this young boy, having been confronted with the horror of World War II and the reality of who the Nazis are and what they represented, imagining Hitler as a baby, doesn't open fire because he understands that doing so would cost him his soul. And that we have to fight these Nazis. And we have to defeat them. but not at the cost of our souls. They've given their souls away. And we fight to keep ours. The name of, yeah, Come and See 1985. Yeah, you'll find it. It's available because it's Russian, right? Like it's not, it doesn't have any copyright or anything like that. It is a surreal, odd, strange journey of a young boy through World War II that really, like, wonderful. I'm glad you found it, Dave. It really, like, its perspective. It's so rare to see a film about World War II from the Russian perspective. Like, that's what makes it a treasure, all by itself. That's what makes it a treasure all by itself. Is that it's a story. Um, it's a story told from the Russian perspective, and it's something I think everybody should watch. Javik, this Russian fellow, I I don't know if you can understand me, Javik, because you're saying you don't speak English. Are you translating what I'm saying? But Javik feels it's important to write this. I have something that Ukrainians accuse Russia of. Allegedly, he keeps typing and it keeps screwing up my. I have something Ukrainians accuse Russia of. Allegedly, Russians organized the Holodomor in Ukraine. Yeah. Some Russophobes are promoting a similar neighborhood in neighboring Kazakhstan. Yeah, Holodomor or Golodomor, famine pestilence. Yeah. I may not be a communist. I have slightly different views, but the Soviet government did everything for its people. And the same famines that happened in Ukraine, the Russian Volga region, Kazakhstan, were caused not by the Soviet government, but by European and American capitalists who consider communists similar to terrorists and marginalized people. I'm happy to say that the famines were just a natural phenomenon. I don't. We can accuse the capitalists of lots of things. We don't need to even bother having that fight. Javik writes, they imposed sanctions on all goods except grain. As a result, the Soviet Union, a young country that appeared after the Civil War in a poor, exhausted country after the First World War, needed industrialization to get closer to European countries in terms of living standards. Well, and militarization, frankly. Forget about living standards. Like, we've got to be able to defeat these Nazis. It produced grain on a massive scale and exported it, and with the money earned, factories were built, furniture and equipment were purchased. The drought that was happening at the time made everything worse. Yeah, as a result, due to the conditions of the capitalist countries, the Soviet population of the South, where grain was produced, was hungry. If they had traded without hatred towards communists and had not imposed a ban on our good, then we could have avoided the Holodomor. Ukraine would not have had a day of the Holodomor, which was blamed on Russia, which did not strive for this at all and did not wish it on Ukrainians. Yeah, I mean, you are correct in saying, like, we have the Soviet archives, right? Javik, I don't know if you can understand me when I'm talking to you. Like, do you have a method for, like, is there a translate on your side of things so that you see what I'm saying? I just don't want to be talking too much into a vacuum when I'm responding to your comments, which I think are very thoughtful and well written. And thank you for being here, Javik. My position on the Holodomor is that we have the Soviet archive. Putin opened it up. Even liberal capitalist historians have gone into the Soviet archive and have basically walked out being like, yeah, what we call the Holodomor, the Soviets were trying to prevent. And like, we literally have Joseph Stalin saying, "Send the grain." Like, there's just no evidence that the Soviets intended to commit a genocide or a starvation of any sort in Ukraine. That the capitalists' best line of attack is to just say it was incompetence, that it was mismanagement or incompetence. But that's not a great line for a capitalist to follow on, because capitalists intentionally drop nuclear bombs on civilians. So I don't know why we care what they think is or is not competent or incompetence. Well, guys, I think we've reached the end of this stream. This one felt like really, really emotional. I felt really up and down on this one. Wow. Thank you, Oddity. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys always, each and every one of you, for being here. I'm so grateful that you're all here. Always remember, guys, each and every one of you are quantum beings walking around in quantum energy. These billionaires are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in the hopes you'll never realize it. You'll just stay the good little commodity they need you to be. Rebel, revolt, repent. Good luck. We're going to need it.